Welcome back to our study called The Aftermath of Sin, and we're finishing up looking at Genesis chapter 19 today. This is the end of this chapter, which, yay, we made it. It's not a happy chapter, it's not a fun chapter, it's a pretty disturbing chapter, but it's one that's God wanted us to know because it shows us the depravity of man. It shows us His long-suffering, His patience, His care for His people, His mercy on the righteous, on why they're even righteous, So all that we've seen. And this story really cries out to us to examine ourselves. Like, if we don't read this and take stock of ourselves, then we're missing the point, I think, of this story. We must not follow in Lot's footsteps, right? We got wow, this guy was righteous. He was a follower of God. Righteous, right? But yet, look what his life became. That should make us think, whoa, wait a minute. Not that we have to be scared of that, but it should make us cautious, right? In the words of J.R. Miller, there is a picture of an artist sitting on an ocean rock, which had been left bare by the retreating waves. There he sat, sketching on his canvas the beautiful scenery, sky, earth, and sea, all unconscious that the tide had turned and had cut him off from the shore, and was rapidly covering the rock on which he sat. The tempest, the waves, the rising sea were forgotten. So absorbed was he in his picture. Even the cries of his friends as they shouted from the shore were unheard. So men grow absorbed in this world and perceive not the torrents of judgment onrolling, and hear not the calls of friends warning them of their peril. So they stand until overwhelmed with the waves of destruction. Yeah, this describes all people who love this world and do not love Jesus. You're destined to be crushed by the waves of God's wrath if you love this world. If you've never turned to Jesus in repentance and faith, then there's no hope. No self-help book or feel-good message will rescue you. But thankfully, the story doesn't always end with destruction. Because for some artists on the rock out there, a boat comes, and the man in the boat drags the artist from the painting and secures him safely in the boat. The man might protest and fight at first, but once secure, he comes to his senses, and he begs the man to let him stay in the boat, begs to be taken to safety. If God has come to rescue you, then grab hold of Him. Cry out and ask Him to securely bring you to safety. And He'll do it. He'll do it. Well, that's the end of our study of Genesis chapter 19. Not a pleasant one to go through, but I think it's necessary because it gives us a stark image of just how dark men's hearts are, how dark people's hearts are. And we need to not think too highly of ourselves. That's the plague of our world, our society today. That's all about thinking more highly of yourself than you ought. When we should be doing the opposite. And so we need to keep that in mind as we go throughout the week, as we go throughout our lives. If righteous Lot could fall, if he could spend every day in Sodom being distressed over the sin that he hears and sees, but then in 2 nights just blows all that away, we need to watch ourselves. We need to be careful. By God's grace, we'll make it through. But we can't let down our guard, even a moment. Even in loss and suffering, that's when Satan attacks. Even when you're trying to isolate yourself and you're hiding off and you're trying to make that Christian bubble, trying to hide yourself away in the hills, in the cave, Satan can find you there. He will find you there. And usually that's when you're weakest, is when you're trying to hide away and not trying to fight. It's when you're on the defense. That's when Satan can win. We need to be on the offense. We need to be moving ahead, marching ahead, running that race. We're moving forward. We're not trying to hang back and just whoa, trying to deflect all. We need to move. We need to move ahead. We need to take ground. We need to fight. We need to plow ahead, no matter what's happening. Not being afraid of our culture, not being afraid of society, not being afraid of what man can do to us. We need to follow God no matter what. So that's the end of our study. hopefully this helped you. Hopefully, even though it's hard things to read about and things that are not very pleasant, it's reality. It's truth. And the truth will set you free.